Hey, Probier TV on the road in Northern California, and believe it or not, I'm at Anderson Valley Brewing, one of the biggest names and of course one of the oldest names in American craft beer history. And I'm here to check out the beers and maybe talk to the brewmaster and see what brews are available here in the tap room. Come on, join me. And now we're here in the brew house at Anderson Valley Brewing, and with me is brewmaster Fel Allen. Hi, Fel.
Hi, how are you?
Pretty awesome. Thank you for having me. For those of our viewers who have never heard about Anderson Valley Brewing, how long is the brewery existing and what kind of beers do you do?
Well, the brewery opened in 1987, so we've been around for 35 years now.
So you're one of the older breweries in the craft beer scene in the US, right?
Yeah, we certainly are. And we make mostly British-style ales, although we make some lagers, German-style lagers, and we have recently decided to make some traditional kind of experimental beers, like a Grodzinski and a Steinbier, and so we make all kinds of beers.
How do people like these experimental styles? Because I would think selling a Steinbier, I can imagine in Europe, but a Grodzinski is rather difficult.
Yeah, you know, we haven't, that beer's not finished yet, and we haven't sold it. I also imagine it's going to be a little difficult. In the past, when we've made German-style Rauchbeers, they have been difficult to sell. But I think that today in America, there are enough people drinking craft beer that they're interested in trying these, you know, older, more traditional styles. So just on that alone, I think we're going to sell through it. We have a Dutch Kuytbeer on draft now next door, and it sells pretty well. I was kind of surprised. It's a little weird, but people seem to enjoy trying the historic beers.
But we're here in a place which is rather remote. You're not surrounded by a big city or something like that. Do people come here to drink your beers, or do you ship your beer nationwide?
Well, we ship it to about 32 states and I think 18 countries now. But people do drive up into this remote location to drink beer. And something that I don't think we talked about was that the valley itself is so remote, and was so remote in the past, that they actually developed their own language called Boontling. And when I say it, people think I'm pulling their leg. They think I'm joking. But it's one of 3 recognized American lingos, along with Hawaiian Pidgin English and Cajun. So it's a real American lingo, and it's only spoken here in Anderson Valley.
And do you have a beer that has a name in that dialect?
Yes, we do. We have quite a few beers that we've named in Boontling. Our original IPA called Hop Otten, which means hard-working hop in Boontling. So there's that one. We have Barney Flats Oatmeal Stout, and Barney Flats is the Boontling name for an area called Hindi Woods State Park. So we have different Boontling names for different beers.
That's funny enough. So you put a little bit of local spice to your beers.
Yeah, we do. We try.
That's nice. And this brew house that we are standing in has some German roots. Not because the owner is German, not because you are linked to Germany, but the brew house is from a German brewery.
Yep, both the brew houses here came out of Germany, towns called Staffelstein and Kasendorf, and we brought them over in the late 90s. Those breweries had been defunct, not brewing, for quite a few years, and the owner at the time had found them in a trade magazine, and so he brought them over and we installed them here, and they're both Hupman breweries, and they make very good beer. We're very lucky to have them.
How many beers do you brew in your core range, or is there at least a core range of your beers that you brew?
We do have a core range. I'm laughing because, you know, today in craft brewing, nobody seems to have core beers. But we probably have 15 core beers that we make year-round. Then we probably make another 20 beers seasonally, or that are sometimes one-offs, like the Grodzinski, who's probably only going to brew that one once.
So I'm just going to the tap room after our talk. Which beers would you say are your signature brews? I know the Gose is very, very popular. We have that back home in Europe quite often. But which beer would you say is the #1 best-selling beer here at Anderson Valley Brewing?
Our top-selling beer is our Boont Amber. It was the first beer we ever made. It's always been our most popular, and it still is. And we just got a letter from CAMRA, the Campaign for Real Ale, and they said that they're going to include Boont Amber in their new book, Best Beers in the World. So we're very excited about that. And I was having a beer with the original brewmaster yesterday, and his name's Bill Harper, and he was saying, oh, he was quite impressed that we were going to be mentioned in this CAMRA book, and he says that he blames all those afternoons and evenings he spent in London pubs.
So he picked up the local spirit there and brewed a beer that really does convince British taste. That's quite unusual. Nice to hear. But you are doing also the IPAs. You're doing lagers. Which kind of lagers do you do?
We try to stick with mostly traditional styles for the lagers. So we do a Pilsner, we do a Schwarzbier. The Stein beer was a lager based. We did a Bohemian Pilsner. So we try and find traditional lager styles and stick with those. Nothing too weird or experimental.
That's funny enough. So thank you, Fel, for showing me around. And if you ever come to Anderson Valley, the north region of San Francisco, take your time, make the way up here. It's beautiful here, beautiful landscape. And if you have a wine-drinking wife like I have, there's plenty of places you can convince her. Thank you very much for having me. And
thank you for coming, and let's go have a beer.
For sure. So, see you later.
Cheers.